All right, thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen, for joining us from wherever you're catching the show. Mbabuzaako bassebo ne bannyabo. Abatuwatchingira mu bitundu by'eggwanga eby'enjawulo kansubire nti muli bulungi. Of course mbanyingiddewo kali lugambo Promax amanya Simple MC okuba ate nga mbatuusaako agakagwawo. Now, okuva eyali former speaker Jacob Olanya Luyafa, there are so many stories ezibadde zitambula ebibadde byogerwa ku kiki ekyaviirako omwami oyo okufa. Taata we era naye kati nga mugenzi yavaayo n'ategeeza eggwanga nti mutabani we nga tannafa yamugambako mbu baamuwa obutwa. Era kigambibwa mbu okumuwa obutwa kye kimu ku byamuviirako okufa kwe. Tuwulira stories naye nga tuziwulira mu ŋŋambo. Now, eyali mukyala w'omugenzi amanyikibwa nga Lady Alison Winnie avuddeyo n'akola video ya 1 hour mwayogeredde enfa ya bbaawe na kiki ekyaviirako bbaawe okufa. Jjukira ono omukyala yali wa mpeta. Now, Lady Alison Winnie ennaku zino omutimbagano agutabukidde. Y'omu ku bannayuganda abaava ne bagamba tugenda kwogera amazima mu mbeera yonna yonna. Oba kiki ne tugenda kwogera amazima. Avuddeyo n'ategeeza eggwanga ani eyali emabega w'okufa kwa bbaawe. Ku mukutu kw'oli tambuza video amanya bampita Simple wuliriza.
The newly prime minister, it is not because she adds any value. It's because she fills the position. That is all Museveni wants. Okay? Being a speaker of parliament did not mean that Anita Amongo had the powers of a speaker of parliament. Okay? Anita Amongo filled the position of speakership of parliament, but truly Tayewa, who is her assistant, was the main actor as a speaker. And Tayewa took note of everything Anita Amongo did and never cautioned her about certain decisions she was making. Looked on while he reported consistently to his bosses, the Museveni people. And when it was time to kick the ladder, you know, he was part of it to make sure that that happened successfully. Okay? So Anita Amongo should have known, I'm sure she knew, because of the mysteries from the passing of Jacob Olanya, the late, the previous Speaker of Parliament. His expression of what happened to him before he died. If anything, Anita knew firsthand that there was suspicion surrounding his passing. That was good enough for her to even tread softer, with less pride, with less power, with less command, and with keeping useful or good Ugandans by her side. But what Anita did was completely opposite. When Anita joined the NRM, she thought she had made it in life. Anita Amongo detached from people who could have been supporting her. As a human being, I feel bad for Anita Amongo. But as a person of change, a change wanter, a change lover, a humanitarian person, somebody who cares about another human being and their well-being, I do not necessarily feel compelled to feel bad as I would for anybody else because of the things Anita Amongo did as a human being. So with that precedence, everything that is happening to Anita Amongo as a human being is wrong. But because of her actions, she earned it. Because she thought she was one of them. That she ended up trumping over her own people who would eventually be somewhat in support of her or try to save her life. Anita abused even her own people from Teso. Anita Amongo made it that an opponent cannot even think twice about suggesting, about dreaming, about running against her. You know, if she was so confident about winning, why wouldn't she just let the other lady run? So Anita Amongo was in line like animals are headed to the butcher, and she saw what happened to the animals ahead of her, but she thought it was different. She thought she was different. She thought Museveni calling her my child, my daughter, my whatever, meant anything. She never learned from all the previous people. Okay? So it is difficult. Atika wachi, Anita Amongo loketek. Kadana dana, apar per machalu dano. Ento chwako dano makilwoni Anita Amongo. Terade da pien. Ikarama Anita Amongo tie ti loch. Anita Amongo nge ni jo mau cherry position ni meberu speaker ni. Kwogi beberu marom kagu ki beri kom me speaker ni. Jo mugu kwogi rwen. Jo mugu kadaga kuperichani kai na mtika tumchalu chabon. Jo mugu kagu nugi tia tata. Sekandi uberu kindana rio unyo adek mau ero putie. Pian sekandi beri waipe no. Sekandi ki office me parliament kacha. Gimo ke ken maladir lobo mero. No temo keta ye merne. Sekandi beri wai konu tie konu pe. Kwa neno ping, kwa peneno ping, kwa yiro ding, kwa winyulo. Sekandi uberi wai pere. Enke na Museveni mero eno. Eno we prime minister me Uganda kiloni na banjani. Uberu danu ma wiye keken pero mutamu o jemi matie makwaro lobo Uganda ki position nani. Ngena Museveni mero ena ye ketu chal danu. I position. Work position upongoro. Petere ni mero joma binu katich. I position ge. Ineno. Chwaka Anita beri wai chwako le mano rie line. Chalo factory wako kan factory ne mogo no factory madon. Le yikikeru ge line kun kinyuru ni any line yani le mena madep. Kitika charma kitika ngologe me yupo en chame ni. Wale mena mario pero motamani ka equate doctrine. Mete mera nyim. Akelo analogy ni pian Anita oneno kita jo mau ki position enini gu ma pegu beti beru dana dore. Kadaga enu kuperichani kai neno. Kuone beri wai bene pere. Ineno. Anita uberi position eni matamani ende oro. Magi moke kan majoni waju ire engini tipat kom jochani. Grandis. Ma Anita worku do waila kwa diang balalo. Madana maut etani gichungi bokeri akacha Anita ubi mako nyako mani mo chung chalu nupe. Ki gwaro nyako ni diwoni ano mo. En maki abducting dana ki kelu drone ki delo dana drone ni. Ki kwanyo nyako ni mano chung pinup. Ki delo ki teru kwane urwe nyako kong ni anadi. No mono ki chero ki wono ki timu dana tata. Kaki duku nyako ni tek nyako ni dugu ki teru ka lok me wachu ngomu time. Nyako ni wachi Anita bero antina. An kom gina chung eni dong pabi chung. Pedabi mero chung. Jo FDC magu chero kwane ki chero ka chono nyingi I dog gate pa electoral commission. Pegu donye electoral commission bukedia. Anita Amongo po ye ni dana omiere gutampi gi kengi gu etebeno gu chung machalo mij meru ba miyo metela aramu wachi amero chung kamone ngata mero gen abene pe kadong yetie in made waiki mari tutwale ibi no kui 100% ayela mo kan pe ento Anita pe meti wadana ma mero chung enami urachi. The problem with Anita was that even those who aspired as a dream of their own that God put in their heart, that Anita made sure that dream was dimmed. The lady from National Unity Platform who aspired to run for office against Anita in Bukedia. Anita took that woman in a drone in the night. They drove around with her like they do National Unity Platform supporters. I don't know if she's tortured or what. When she came out, she couldn't speak about what truly happened. All she did was hand over and say she was not going to run anymore. The FDC people in Bukedia who tried to go and register and themselves as they couldn't even get through the gate. Jo FDC people I think even on election day in Bukedia, Anita Amongo made sure that the gates were closed to say that they are no longer having anybody going in to vote anymore. Anita made sure that she was unopposed by force. If you're so good, let people challenge you so that we know that you're really great and you made it all by yourself. So Anita Amongo nano ni ngatu mo kan mi arpo ya taka chung kere Bukedia kacha o chung NP kane. Anita Amongo po tamani dano mo kane wan gi makonywa pe kiborani. Guak ni mo me biberi wai ni egini. Ma guak bit ni dano guak be konye buchung pere. Me pe po ngolu wi Anita. Ineno. Chwa kwa Anita tek pien down chalo honorable Segirinya gi uberu member of parliament mo karni. Anita Amongo me ete me wachni Segirinya to member of parliament ba pingo kitika wako beri buch pingo loka Segirinya peki nene ye peki loli ye kinen ngo mi arke tempier wako kat ki buch Segirinya omedi ki tuo ma ki wono Segirinya deda video ma Segirinya wai do e ye don weke nyura wai ukonya duana ubi mago ento chel ma ubi mago enini po nyut mafura kwa au nyut chel egini ki video egini madam kwana pe mada togo piano noni pedare. Sorry about that, somebody called me. Segirinya, honorable Segirinya o merikito Segirinya Museveni order niki Mark Segirinya kitwe Segirinya MP ba maki wow private part pa Segirinya ki wow Germany o weng era boke wuni come machoni weng ki wow weng maki tuju Segirinya ki yad maki kwara ki we yala choni petado ki tuju Segirinya ki yad ma come weng no kwoto kire makono topa ko Segirinya kitera ki wachi obone wendo maka uliting kumaini pipera mkaro kiye mero example la chel keken ento luteno nuba di maki marogi ma Anita Amongo ngarimo a senyo nyiko a nika lokom jo mati buchi betping two by betping pay gam lok any kind nano. So I'm saying that Anita Amongo lived through the previous parliament with a member. This is one example of many. A member of parliament, Segirinya, Honorable Segirinya, who was abducted while being a member of parliament, tortured by the Muhozis, his private parts burned with fire, acid, whatever they could find, clipped nails with the pliers, all manner of torture, waterboarded, everything, Segirinya, all of that was done to him. To the extent that Segirinya's kidneys and liver became solid that could not pass liquid through. Segirinya was swollen from all manner of poison that was injected in him. And they waited for Segirinya to die. He couldn't. He did not die on their time. Segirinya eventually succumbed to his death. But I'm talking about a member of parliament in Anita Amongo's parliament. All this went on while Anita was in the big chair. That's one example, just one. Eddie Mutwe's scenario, he was picked up, abducted, tortured. Muhozi came out and said, I have him in my basement. I'm still teaching him Lunyankole. Tortured severely. You can see the pictures. The videos will scare the heck out of you. All that happened under Anita's nose. While Anita stands with a stick like Emulalo. While Anita parades thousands of heads of cows because she feels like she has arrived and she's one of them. I'm sorry. I'm here not because I am benefiting in any way to say anything about this. I am saying this because those of you who are headed Anita's way, or both, and so on and so forth, you know that you are headed for the butcher, but you are just tugging along and fending off or flagging off anybody who has a different opinion than the one you have from Debalalu. Be mindful, because when the time comes to what Anita Amongo is going through, it is hard to defend her. I'm not lying to you. I'm a human being. I feel her pain. But I can tell you that because of Segirinya, because of Eddie Mutwe, because of Frank Senteza, because of Olivia Lutaya, because of Achileo Chivumbi, because of Alex Waiswa Mufumbiro, because of Kavuma, the beginning of all this, because of all the National Unity Platform supporters, those who are in the line of fire, who just were not even supporting Noop, but a child on the streets who is being sent by his mother across to go and do some business is caught in the crossfire because they're trying to raid Noop, and they're trying to raid all of these things that Museveni tries to do to belittle or to destroy Noop. Anita watched. I am not sorry because of that. I'm sorry. I am so sorry. I'm a human being, but I am also a human being for the ones who are tortured and gone. While Anita watched, and yet she had the powers to not give her any pity. Atika wachi an nana berni. Chunya apara Anita chalo dana ento paro mutimu gimo ke ken ko beri chawani me konyu ne ki gina dong tika te me kom enni pien dana moto pien Anita uberu tie kun tie ki yo me konyu gi uberu pol down chalo honorable Segiri nyamo uberu MP maroma ki Anita ni down chalo Frank Senteza ma uberu bodyguard pa Bobby Wine pepe mero chu Lumon mutaka mon pa Museveni gu goy jali paka gu metineko ne. Down chalo Eddie Mutwe wunu neno kita ki mako kere Eddie Mutwe maki ki wano ma muhozi ukati kunwachi atika gono ne atika fonyu ne ki lep nyankole. Ma Eddie Mutwe ki goy ma peramu wa wat. Ma wane wa kaberu ma peki ramu teto ne. Tie down ma Museveni gu ngunu tian ge oli tup. Tie down ma ki ngunu chingi la chua mani tie ki chelo wine kubercha anti US kan ki chelo wine ki mudugu jal mama ko kamera pa Bobby Wine ti US ka enini ikar me election me campaign mu kare ki tu ki chelo wie kan ma wi o mero elero rubanyo we ko kubercha ni ngate ne ko jami enini we o te me kare Anita Amongo tie kun tie ki yo meneno ni kari ni dong ni Museveni gi mero lodge and on why you John utimbe. Au koko tim kuman ula kong down. Unyo kariti inero. The power I'm saying that Anita Amongo has is not entirely the power to speak or do things. Anita Amongo, now that we know, was loaded with cash. Her basement or containers or whatever. Anita had the powers to move certain things, not because Museveni gave her permission, but because they were right, and she might have been protected. Because nature has a way, karma comes back around. Anita Amongo no tiki chene ma pe kwanne. Kawe kwan kichi kumene, pe kwan tum. Kori chene ma kide yanu Anita no romu tich kere. Down matie pero, ento Anita kati ngulu la, medicom down, kom chana down ti down nani. Of all the suffering there was, she added to their pain in sarcasms, in all manner of responses. When Joel Senyonyi spoke, she had one-liners that were just stinky because she has the power. And guess what has happened to Anita? She has faced and is facing the ultimate punishment from the same people whom she let punish and continuously torture and harass National Unity Platform supporters. Anita Amongo, from the time that she was, they started to raid her home. When they picked up Anita Amongo, she ended up in the fridge The same fridge which the two gentlemen from Kenya who came to support Bobby Wine were put in. Apparently, there is a temperature-controlled home. I don't know if it's a basement of Muhoozi or somewhere, Muhoozi's homes or whatever, where they keep the temperature very low, dangerously low, that you could actually get hurt from being too cold and pass out. But the body has a way of warming up or creating heat, so some people survive. That's why some people can live for a certain time in the wild without dying from natural causes. Atika wachi Anita karma kichao yenyu gange kono ti kono kwalchana kwa ngongoni. Niene no makigama Anita ni kitero kama Muhoozi wachi tikere ki fridge. Fridge anu beru kamoni ma ot money tie ma luma buj duan deda ma buj ma Muhoozi gi ma ko manope koridano ma logo unyo dano ma tie ki mati your position ni. Unyo chilama winyi chilam ti kunu pe yenyu chilam ti pange pingo Johnny Deck chilam adeda makun ki wachi chao melega ngi chilam lego one beach icha melega chok basement wang mo ponke down chok down mi ngwen kuluni down wang cha melega no ki loke ki tikati mu kori lega pasilame en make ki kulle kunyo ki gene penge down pull down manotie ene fridge ane no ki tikati mu kori gene ane no getika lega pien man yurni chilama pola dida tie kuno ineno majo ma aki Kenya ni gitero ko wachi down ma tie basement pam igene I fridge pam Muhoozi cha down duon dida ti down ma no don wa yenyu ma don be watam ni ko gipe mukena ti kuno down mo guma ki go egin manogu wile no gu loka kongu loka maka ke kelu ki wa jogi ron kwer ni gen ko Chala cho mane Mugumia maki maka Muhoozi kuma konguchi tuwe Congo do releasing piano cho book kun book any wadu kita Museveni gi kwa kere ki tim gi marajuni Mugumia ki maka ki wachi Mugumia tie itengo fridge kacha any fridge eno ma Anita Amongo berieni kitera Anita Amongo kama yang Anita Amongo chayo kama Anita Amongo wachi jopa nupti ye beni. Anita Amongo was taken to the place that she normally did not care about when they spoke about new people being there. In the fridge. And everything that was done to National Unity Platform supporters or people of the likes, which I heard there's lots of Muslims. Hold on 1 minute. So I understand in that the fridge, the temperatures are severely low, dangerously low, that somebody of abnormal, you know, if you have issues with heat and cold, you might suffer or you might not even survive it. So Anita Amongo was taken there from her house after they came and raided and abducted her. They did all manner of things to her. All manner of things you can imagine. All manner. I'm talking all the people who had somehow assumed or wanted to or would have liked to have a bit of her. All these Rwandese men. One day, you know, everybody came and as they please. You want to use the front door. You want to use the back door for children around. Whatever they wanted to do to Anita Amongo, they have done. All men who are ready, if you're sick, not sick, whatever the case might be, all these Rwandese men used Anita Amongo in the fridge. Because you know that that is what they do to a lot of the female prisoners, even the male ones, because somehow Museveni believes in dominancy or sexual dominance over people or prisoners, people they hold, which is something that they exercised on Anita. If Anita comes out of that place alive, maybe she will speak. It is possible that they may discard her because they don't want her to speak. Not just speak about the things that they did to her, but to speak about the other things that they did together for the goodness of Museveni telling her, do this and that for my sake. You also know that Anita Amongo is the only sanctioned member of parliament at that time, a speaker of parliament at the time. And yet, Tayewa and Amongo have worked together, especially the fact that Tayewa being a Rwandese, he was the head. Anita Amongo just filled that position. All decisions and tricks and all of that were employed or brought to the table or executed by Tayewa, which is common. It is a common thing now. Even in the military, they will bring you a junior SFC of 17 or 18 years old. Even in the military and police, they bring a little guy. Today, you know, he's hired and whatever. He's quickly risen through the ranks. Next thing you know, that little junior person who came yesterday is the one who makes decisions for you to finally execute. As a Ugandan, you will not have power to do anything until this little guy who came yesterday says this is the way it should go, or seconds your idea. That is what happened with Anita Amongo's position. So it is possible that she may have come out of the fridge, but it will be a while before we see Anita Amongo, if we do, because of what they have done to her. You remember when Eddie Mutwe was in detention with Muhozi at Muhozi's home, they could not bring him out early until he had healed from some of the signs of atrocity, signs of torture on him. So everything they could do to Anita Amongo, they did. The time Anita Amongo came out and wrote something on her Twitter or X account saying that that she's withdrawing from the post of speakership. Anita Amongo was still in the fridge. They had tortured her so much. They asked her forcefully, amidst a lot of terror, to write that thing and share it. Atika wachi, managa kimara Anita Amongo uberi fridge mani ma kita wachi wuni. Anita Amongo uberi kunuma choma aki Rwanda oti komanita iyomo keken ma inromo tamune. Choma tiu kere kilong, choma tiu kere the same way duata. Ngati mo ken ma iyo mero ma tamani Anita Amongo koti ni. Cho awinyi ti fridge ludok la boybo. Ngati mo ken ko ila yue yo ko ila ngo ko ila mon ko ila nga. Cho mo ke ken donya room kabani tati yeni. Kiberu kere kita yige umero. Jami makitimi kom jopa National Unity Platform mi kitemo wen kom Anita. Wen. Pian jome National Unity Platform mi kake maogi. Tutwale mamone ki beru kedge otata. Joma tiki silim kono pe ki silim ko tiki gonorrhea ko tika nga wen donye kono. Maki balu ko Anita makonye pe maki para ni Anita karamu kene bere po biko ento ko omiero konki gwore we kome mu ko chang kamugo manoki bui ni. Now ki were manoko ni were mo don kubedi peko. No Gemini went to tata. So Anita Amongo tie kama ding adeda. Twaru bedi donki kwanyo waki kama no kikeri yeni. En topi en kome no puti ki buo ki ngongo gini. Peki romo kelo ne wako. Ikarma Anita chwalu message kun waju ni endong baby chung pe speaker ni. Anita uno futi fridge kuno. Mak ulega deda ni ukonya umi na chimwe kachwalu message. Andong pa mero beru speaker. Gin makidi Anita Amongo tutwal ni wachi in ko iwachi wapingo emero kwanyu kom me beru president Uganda kan. Anita Amongo wachi ento emero kwanyu kom inero o kwayo kija deda. Kun wachi ni ukonya umina chima waka wachi jo weng ni peda mero beru speaker. Peda mero tela moiken pa mero gimoiken. Anda mero beru dana la boy ki moy ken ka mero kwanyo ko me speaker ni baro kwan ki penyo ni magogo beru chware o wachi ko ni en pe mero magogo da eni bolu down pien I mero ni I mero ni magogo gube ka chel we en I med NRM ki jome Eastern imite jo me Eastern ma chwa magogo ni guma rebene we NRM nya we tu Eastern kipenyu bana ki wachi recording ma beru duong e kono ma in beru awinya Anita tiki recording ma duong deda ma recording jame mugo ma do ma uti meki bot NRM ki kunu ma duong deda ento o waju ni kakitimu ki moi kome ena ye ki audios enli ki releasing ki chwalwa ko bot dano karamana Anita mong en bera tani lok mugo ma logo duanya tani karamotoka ne ki carrier speaker office ne ki carrier speaker gange ki kerum speaker wa camera ko weng ma job am 7 ginena Anita mong Jimmy weng wa lok weng ma Anita mong logo ti recorded ti recording kipenyo ni pingoti ki chene mapol o wa ni chene eno ni eno emiti ikon ki NRM do ento Anita bana ki wa ni uberu ka chulu down mapol down mo uma kila mo kana keri beno beri opposition chalo ikarman ma oginoti ka geneti campaign ki ngongo gi no ine Anita ochulu pone ne ko ochulu down katata we qui o word mabe we any chung kene we any bed speaker ento ne teach paruba we I watch the carry what dig money ning karuba pobi ye pobi timme pange pinga po nyange ne Anita mo dine me beru speaker yo mo keken dan mu chama jene pa Anita duong apenduze gi anu kigulu kenyo ento Johnny wachi gube biru what bot enjo mo chama chene ki borani wengu be kibilwonge ko kese ni pekes matiteli ba maki waja ni Anita Amongo peking eu ka obikwo onyo peking eu ka obikwo ma ubeberu mabe me akela I court and gitika luor ni kagi we Anita okaro Anita romo lok maraj magine ma weko gen nen maraj gen mu kene bene Anita romo tieto jami magubera timne gen Museveni gi weko nongo gamente pa Museveni obo nen dok maraj loyo kitatikere ni I am saying that while she was in the fridge she apologized amidst a lot of terror and tools facing her. You know, the guns were pointed at her, they were scaring her, they were raping her, they were doing all kinds of things to her. When she did get her phone to make that statement, she did it under a lot of fear and intimidation. Anita Amongo also denied being married to Magogo as her official husband. She said the intention of having Magogo was just to have the eastern part of the region join and be happy with NRM because Magogo is from some part of the east. She wanted to bundle it all up. They asked her why she's trying to take over the government and the president's seat. I told you this thing about Anita Amongo is not about the money she has. It's about the power that they think she has to become president of Uganda. That is Museveni's main problem. That is the only problem as to why Anita Amongo has been treated this way. I'm going to give you another example of somebody else eventually, but let me finish this. They asked Anita how come she talks negatively about the regime that she serves. Apparently, Anita Amongo's cars are bugged. Her house is bugged. The speaker's office is bugged. Museveni watches her like a toy, especially when he felt threatened. He began to watch Anita Amongo and the deputy speaker, Tayebwa, was on top of his game with getting information where it needed to go immediately. That is why Tayebwa is back and Anita Amongo is in the fridge, or has just left the fridge if she did. The reason you have not seen Anita Amongo in the public eye is because she's nursing what injuries she got while in the fridge of Muhozi. And she may not come back the same. You know, with a bleached skin, so many things are thinner, easy to abrase or bruise, easy to burn or tear. We just don't know what state she's in. We don't know. She denies Magogo being her official husband. Also, she denies They asked her why she has a lot of money and audios in her office. So Anita Amongo apparently has several other recorded audios that she has given people to release when she does die or if they do something to her and all of that. So that is also something that they are fearful of. Okay? There is fear that Anita Amongo may be assassinated because they fear bringing her to court the way she looks. They could assassinate her, or they may let her stay, but stay without being a part of anything or being seen or allowed to speak at all. Okay? They will continuously threaten her. I want to bring to your attention the previous leaders of Uganda who were prominent. Okay, Ugandans who were prominent in leadership positions who would have become something, but Museveni dimmed their light. And as I mentioned, the speakership position, nobody has come off of that position and stayed the same or lived to their dreams or whatever the case might be with what they've earned as being a speaker, except Sekandi. Honorable Kadaga is not the same. As we see it, she's just wasting away every day. Okay? People like Wopakabulo, Francis Ayume, okay? People like Jacob Olanya, Noble Mayombo. Those people Museveni got rid of when he felt, and it doesn't have to be financial that he seems threatened. Just by you seeming like people are starting to like you or your ideas are transformational, Museveni figures out how to get rid of you. That is why Anita Amongo is in her position right now. What Anita Amongo could have done, and hopefully the next leaders are going to try to do, is to ally with other Ugandans, because in times like this, we just might be able to help. We might. Wunu tela mukena makuperi chawani wuti yo bebiano itela madon position madoni. Wun ko nen kong Germany ba. Ko nen kong anyimu kita jo mukena ni tika wot kere. Unen bene ni ko kwa mabe ki dano mukene looking gang ma wundo tamani kado oi position money don kongi peni. Pien kuperi chani kaya da Anita Amongo kuperi chani. Dano maromu konya Anita Amongo keken enaye His Excellency Obujulizi Anita Bobby Wine. Anita Amongo berichani Bobby Wine ayeko wachiki team kumanti bana kipitemo. You know? At this point, Anita Amongo, I'm sure, is crying Bobby Wine or His Excellency Obujulizi Anita. But Anita Amongo burned that bridge to ashes. To ashes. She could not allow the thought of Bobby Wine existing in Uganda peacefully. No, she couldn't entertain it. Anita Amongo no pe bena ki tamwe ni noob miaro betie loboni. Eno kuberichani ngato mo maromo kwanye neki kama enti yeni. Ena e Bobby Wine keken. Petie minister mo Uganda Kenyu. Jopa Museveni gi petwero. Enjo men National Unity Platform kekena ye twero konya Anita. Meno kwa lobo. Kade tamne indong tutwale. Chide nene Kenyu do. Atika wachi joma aki position enini mo ma chung mati mo neno le kwa ene wa le kwa ene oberu mabe chamu chene beru speaker ni mwaga madia nyimpere kai aki beru speaker omiere gam salary 60% no ichamu giripir keni retirement ko petie mapat ki sekandi down mo retiring mabela bon yela petie when guy retiring kuman iponi ngarmani to o ngarmani aki office mapia tamotum o ngarmani ni uberetata pene na be kotini ni down solo wa pakabulo gini down solo Francis Ayume ineno ko atiti wukong Latin wa lokech babawa uminwa Latin wa Fred Lokech. I would like to speak to you about Lokech. Lokech was the Lion of Mogadishu, praised. He did a phenomenal job. Phenomenal job He was no terror to anyone, not fearful at all. Muhoozi didn't care. The Musevenis don't care. When Muhoozi tells you that, locate my brother, locate, that is BS. Okay? Because the story of Lokech, which I get firsthand from Lokech's person,